Every time you grab a bottle of full synthetic, you might be paying premium money for refined crude oil. Not some chemist's invention, crude, pulled from the ground, then processed hard enough that the law lets the bottle say synthetic. And there's one reason that's legal. Once you know it, you'll never read an oil label the same way again. We looked at 9 full synthetics. 6 are leaning on a loophole, 3 are the real thing. Same word on the front, completely different liquid inside. And we're starting with the brand that created the loophole in the first place. But before the list, one thing you need to know. Look, most oils labeled full synthetic, they're actually crude oil, pumped from the ground and refined extremely hard until it looks clean. Real synthetics are different. They're built molecule by molecule in a lab. That's why they handle heat better and burn off less. Here's the catch. Back in 1999, Mobil took Castrol to court for selling refined crude as full synthetic. Castrol won. The court said crude that had been refined heavily enough could legally be called synthetic. And that ruling, that's why the word means almost nothing today. So every oil here faces one question. Refined crude or real lab-built synthetic? Which one's actually in the bottle? Number 1, Castrol Edge, the one who started it. We begin with the company that won the court case, because it's the reason this whole list exists. Castrol's one of the most trusted names in oil, and the Edge line is sold as their top full synthetic. But that ruling Castrol won back in '99, it was a ruling that their oil was refined crude, legally relabeled. And at Edge money, you can already grab a real lab-built synthetic on the same shelf, which makes the premium really hard to justify. Castrol's not poison. It's simply not what most people think they're buying. The brand that defined the category built on the loophole that broke it. And honestly, if the inventor of the loophole cuts that corner, watch what the budget players do with it. Number 2, peak full synthetic. Premium word, budget oil. Here's your answer. Reported breakdowns of this oil put the vast majority of the base as refined crude, with only a trace of real synthetic. It clears the basic specs, so it's legal, and it'll run. But the additive package is thin compared to the bigger names, which means less margin when the oil's working hard. For the same few dollars, a store brand refined crude gives you the same base and admits what it is. Peak charges you for the word and keeps the chemistry budget. A budget oil, wearing a premium label. At least Peak's price is honest. The next one hides behind a name you already trust. Number 3, Quaker State Full Synthetic. Same company, cheaper bottle. This is the one that should make you angry, because the parent company knows better. Shell owns Quaker State, and Shell also owns Pennzoil. For Pennzoil Platinum, Shell uses a process that turns natural gas into a genuinely advanced base oil. Nothing like ordinary refined crude. That technology exists, in-house, on the same shelf, at nearly the same price. Quaker State Full Synthetic doesn't get it. It gets conventional refined crude. So when someone tells you it's all the same company, so it's the same oil, it's not. Shell saved its best chemistry for a different bottle and hoped you wouldn't check. Remember that bottle, because it shows up again near the top of this list. Number 4, Valvoline Daily Protection Synthetic Blend. The label does the lying. Here, the word on the bottle does the deceiving for them. Valvoline sells this synthetic blend right next to its full synthetic. Similar bottle, lower price. People grab it thinking they're saving on the same oil. But synthetic blend is the most abused phrase in the aisle, because nobody regulates the ratio. A product can be a few percent synthetic and the rest conventional, and still legally wear the word. So that saving you think you're getting, that's the saving Valvoline made on the base oil. Not a discount they pass to you. Treat a blend exactly like conventional oil, because chemically, that's most of what it is. The word synthetic on this bottle is carrying almost none of the weight you think it is. Number 5, STP Full Synthetic. Hard to find data sheet. STP earned its name in fuel additives, but in the oil aisle, it raises 2 flags. The first, the safety data sheet is hard to find. And when a company makes the contents difficult to see, that's information by itself. The second is the lineup. The thinnest, most modern grades that most new cars now require. Those are the ones that demand either a real synthetic or genuinely top-tier crude refining to pull off. A full synthetic range that can't comfortably cover those grades is telling you what's underneath, without saying it. The brands at the top of this list publish their numbers proudly. STP hides them, and the hiding is the verdict. The bottle says more than the chemistry can back up. The next one's a genuinely great oil, which is exactly why it lands where it does. Number 6. Ineos Full Synthetic. The widest gap. This one stings, because the brand is genuinely good. Ineos is a respected Japanese name, beloved by Toyota and Honda owners. Its formulation and volatility numbers are strong. So apply the test from the top of this video. Strong reputation, premium price, and a full synthetic still built on refined crude. That's the widest gap on this list. Not the worst oil, but the biggest distance between what you're promised and what's in the bottle. A great brand, still playing the same labeling game as the budget players. And that gap is exactly why it sits here. At the bottom of the six oils, all leaning on the loophole Castrol won in 1999. But 3 brands refused to take the shortcut. And the difference isn't on the label, it's in your engine. 2 years and 40,000 miles from now. Number 1. Pennzoil Ultra Platinum. Shell's good chemistry. Here's the bottle Quaker State doesn't get to be. This is the chemistry we promised you earlier. Turning natural gas, not crude, into a base oil with near zero impurities, and a molecular consistency that rivals a true lab-built synthetic. Shell's published cleanliness testing showing it leaves engines well under the dirt limit the standard allows. For modern turbocharged engines, the ones that punish weak oil fastest, this is real protection, at a price that sits right next to the pretenders. Same company as Quaker State, same shelf, completely different liquid. That's what good chemistry looks like when they actually use it. Number 2, Liqui Moly Synth-Oil, when German means it. When a German brand says synthetic, it tends to mean it. Synth-Oil's built on real lab-made synthetic, and it carries tougher European approvals than the basic rating most budget brands stop at. That standard means it holds up at sustained high temperatures. Exactly what a hard-working turbo engine needs. It costs more than the racing-branded bottles from the bad half. And unlike them, the premium is in the base stock, not the marketing. You're paying for what's in the bottle. Finally, instead of what's printed on it. Number 3, Amsoil Signature Series, refuse to budge. This is the brand that wouldn't move when everyone else took the cheap exit. Amsoil sold America's first true lab-built synthetic back in 1972, and Signature Series is still built on the real thing. That's why the amount of oil it burns off under high heat sits remarkably low, while many refined crude synthetics lose 2 to 3 times as much. Remember the loophole Castrol spent a whole court case opening in 1999? This is the company that simply refused to walk through it. Real synthetic base oil, published numbers to prove it, and no court ruling propping up the label. That's the simplest decision in the oil aisle, and it's why this one is first.